Okay, while recognizable and still possible, do a quick little walk around of the two. One's a 650, the yellow and black, and this one right here is also an XMR. That's an 850. This one's new and hasn't been for a ride yet. That's why I'm gonna show some differences now while you still recognize them. They're nice and clean. So basically, the years are different, so the technology is different. So the differences, some of them are between the models and some of them are between the years. So first I'll go over the technology that wasn't there when we bought this is 2015. So first of all, you didn't have the diff lock mode. You just have visco lock only on there, and you don't have the ITC intelligent throttle control. That also is not on there. Then if you come over here as well, you'll also notice you don't have the different DPS modes on this as well. Dynamic power steering. Other than that, as far as things that were changed, I know they did a little bit of suspension geometry changes, whether you got the 850, 650 or whatever. A few little things have changed, not a whole lot between the two models. Couple other little things maybe that are different. Honestly, it's not a whole lot, but if you're thinking about getting a 650 versus an 850, here are the main differences regardless of the year. So you're getting your lower horsepower here, 62 versus 78. Then you got your regular A-arms down there versus your arched A-arms down there. And if you look, the ground clearance is pretty substantial there. Quite a huge difference. There's a lot of different reasons for it, but this one has smaller tires for one. This one comes with 30s that measure a 28, and this one has 27s on there that measure about a 26 and a quarter kind of thing. So those are just your old Roctanes. I traded out the original mud tires that came on there. I didn't really like them for a whole lot of anything. Cryptids are great. They're still a pretty solid tire if you want to play around the trails and get into your mud holes and all that stuff. I think these ones came with the Zillas on there, Mudzillas, and honestly, those things are kind of horrible unless you're in the mud, and they're not even the best there. So those came off. We did a lot of trail riding with this. This one's going to be much more mud specified, and this one's basically transformed back to being more mud specified. So the difference between these guys, the 650 and the 850, basically your horsepower, the more modes you get now that you have a choice of that you didn't back then. But overall, I don't want to, the price is different, of course, but the big difference between the two, I mean, really the key one is 650 versus 850. So you got a horsepower difference there. Absolutely. Everybody changes tires and rims and all that anyways. It's a quick fix to get this thing up in the air better, for sure. And you don't have a couple of the modes on this, but I'm gonna tell you, from owning this and driving it, it's been an awesome, reliable machine. So the other thing too is between the horsepower being 62 to 78, yes, it is great. The 78 is going to be phenomenal and awesome. Usually when you drop below something like that, make that big of a difference though. The one lower just doesn't quite cut it and do all this stuff. Well, if you're not full out skagging all the time and you don't live by that, and this 650, I'll tell you, it's surprising. Like, it's a little bit lighter, but when you throw on the mud tires, it's amazing what it does. That engine, the 650 V-twin engine, has the grunt. This sucker, I use it to plow the driveway, and it wails through everything. This is going to be even more. Yes, it will. This one, so they're both XMRs. They just come a little ways since the original days. So you're just a little bit of a better height now compared to back then. Everybody was happy being on that compared to everything originally. But I know you get 13 inches now, and then you put on some aftermarket tires and you're you know, you're getting up to the 14, 15. So this one's gonna get, we're gonna push these tires over to this one and then push some bigger tires even onto here and give this one a little bit more ability with that. I know I can turn these tires, no problem. So we do a little clutch kit on there just to help it out. What are the big similarities? Almost everything. The big differences, just a few things I mentioned. If you were to go out and buy one right now and you wanted to save a few $1,000s and get the 650, don't feel that you can't ride with all the big guys and do a whole lot of stuff. Sure, like anything. I mean, this is 195 horse, but now there's 225 out, so there's always something you can't do or catch up to with people. And you know, this is 2015 650, and I can still play with all the new guys. I can still come out and play. Like, it's still a very, very capable machine. Like, it hasn't fallen backwards off the list of things to get a ride. It's an amazing machine, reliable, really easy to drive, pretty easy to work on. I don't know, just this one was just, it's how you go. You pick a bigger one the next time, and the way you go with your skills and everything, you kind of move along that way too, and what you challenge yourself up against. But honestly, if I couldn't have got this, I would have just done what I wanted to, finish this one off. And you know, maybe there's the odd thing I wouldn't have gotten through, and there's not much that would have stopped it though. So great machine. I'm sure the 650 brand new ones are just like this, but maybe a tiny bit more improved, maybe in a couple little areas. Other than that, honestly, it just doesn't need a whole lot of improvement for a mid-high horsepower V-twin machine. It's stock, it's great. Like, it's got the lower gearing. The XMRs have that, which is another thing that's awesome compared to the regular XTs and regular Outlanders, is the lower gearing for sure. For what we do, definitely excels that way. Regular trail riding, yeah, I'd rather have the other gearing for sure. So yeah, that's your main differences. I mean, the stance and the height, I mean, they come really stiff when you get them. This one's actually, believe it or not, it's worn in and softened up a bit. I never thought it would happen. I used to jump up and walk on there and it didn't even wiggle whatsoever. Just like this one now, you get to this one, this 850, and I mean, it's not moving. And you get to this one, it's softened up quite a fair bit. So, I mean, with the XMR, of course, you want it stiffer for the mud. This is still, despite starting to move now a bit, it's actually in kind of a sweet spot I like. It's still way stiffer than the Outlander, so it's still leaning towards being more useful in the mud. This one is super stiff. I'll be excited when this one just loosens up a little bit like that one. So yeah, there's the main differences between the two guys. It's basically just like a bit of a bigger brother next to one that can play too. Just another note I missed too. It's hard to remember all this when everything's going on here, but so this guy just has this bit of a smaller screen, still shows lots of stuff, but then you got the nicer screen on the big guys. It is nicer for sure. I definitely like that more. And another thing that used to drive me right crackers here is, well, the 850 comes with a bumper. The 650 doesn't. There's definitely been times where I really wish I had it. Banged off these a couple times or whatever. Everything fixes pretty quick and easy, but the bumpers would have stopped that for sure. So the other thing too is on the front bumpers, getting back to what drove me insane, is I have them all on now, but even if you look for these guys for sale, no matter how old they are, almost every one of them is missing this plastic piece right there. So finally, they're welded on. So it's a nicer finished look too, for sure. It's not that's horrible, but like you just touch these and they pop off, fall off so fast. And then it looks kind of ratty underneath there too. Now, one other thing, probably gonna miss a couple here, but is the fender flares. So just because of the tiny bit of the wider stance here, got the fender flares going down the side, a little more mud coverage, which is gonna make a difference because I'm going wider anyways, because I don't really want to be taking out all the fenders. Whereas this one comes stock, and I have slightly offset rims to keep the tires a little further out so it doesn't hit these guys anyways. Now I got fender flares for that, but they'll just get ripped off right away anyway. So when those tires are gonna come over here, I put the fender flares on here and those tires will stick out extra. So there you go. Those are pretty much all your main differences right there in a nutshell. One other thing too, just thought of, these come with 14-inch rims now. Some of them still had the 12-inch rims. I put 14s on there right away just to give more space around the brakes, rotors, calipers, and all that when you're traveling through, so every little rock doesn't kill everything. However, the trick to that is you're always kind of letting in a bigger rock, but I've never had the problem yet myself by being a little bigger than having it small, which, as you can see on the X3, there's not much room on the stock rims on that one, right? Oh, I got it flat. Nice. One ride in those tires. So yeah, there's not much room, so everything gets caught up and the rims get sliced and all that. So we're gonna try to stay away from that.